Welcome to LONNIE'S Show, live daily at noon Eastern after 1,000 followers, focused on wellness in a chaotic world through discipline, clarity, and calm thinking. Topics build, and in the second half, it all clicks. I invite you into the discipline of three arts: body, mind, story. Show respect. If you're going to be like, fuck it anyway, I'm not going to learn how to read and write. I'm going to tell you what you want to do, how to make your movie. I understood rape from that incident. Train the body, focus the mind, shape the story. LONNIE'S Show is about wellness through the discipline of three arts: mind, body, story. It's day 3, January 3rd. LONNIE'S Show. I'm trudging through it. I'm going to tell you a number of stories today to establish orientation. When I was 7 years old in Albuquerque, New Mexico, it was a bright summer day, or bright sunny day, and warm. School just ended and everybody was running off the playground, and my friend Matthew, this little white boy who used to fake me out in sports, me and him at the same time spotted a girl's red blouse on the ground. And he started smiling and he looked up at me and said, "Lonnie, did you rape a girl?" And I was like, no, and looking around for who heard him say that. I didn't know I was under surveillance, but so many places you go to now are. I understood rape from that incident as rape means take a girl's blouse off. So I was looking around the playground for some poor girl running around without her blouse. And I was wondering, should I grab this blouse and then when I see the girl, I go over to her and I give her blouse back? Or am I already in trouble? Did Matthew's accusation, even though joking, scare me? Yeah, it did scare me. So what's the moral of this story? Comprehension can be different than meaning. I don't know what Matthew knew at 7 years old or what Matthew meant, but whatever he meant wasn't the message that I got. So it confused me. Confusion can lead to violence, can lead to forms of unwellness. Confusion is unwellness. This land I'm walking on now is a patch of green, which is from the Great Lake Erie, goes through Cleveland, Bracknell, then Cleveland again, East Cleveland, Cleveland Heights. There was no cut through all the way from the lake. Matthew's accusation caused me some pain, and the confusion lasted because I'm 7 years old. I didn't have anybody to talk with about rape, and any kind of thing I heard about rape was only whispered and hushed between adults talking late at night. It wasn't television subjects. There was no cable. There was no internet. Here's your writing lesson. What I'd like for you to do is to imagine a scenario where, ooh, is that water? That's probably water. The ducks, the geese, birds, other birds come drink here in the summer, this pool's. And looks like I might fall through some ice right there, possibly. So I'm gonna follow this trail here. Writing lesson, your task. Write about something painful that happened to you. This is more than a writing lesson. This is more than you just simply creating a story and imagining something that somebody might want to see. The person who wants to see it is you. You're working on you. So you learning to write a screenplay is like a side effect to your program of wellness. Let's start with something simple. First lesson, we're going to talk 2 writing lessons here. Your first writing lesson is just to tell a beginning, a middle, and an end. For example, y'all might have heard this before. See Spot run. Spot runs fast. Run, Spot, run. You have an actor, Spot. You have an action, Spot runs. And you have a third person, an observer out on the sidelines watching Spot run. So you have two characters. You could put a third character in there by making a narrator and telling us what's in Spot's head, or a subconscious of the dog, or subconscious of the observer of the dog. What's in Spot's head? What's in the observer's head? These things are called point of view. Everybody is not going to tell the same story because they didn't see the same thing, they didn't hear the same thing, they didn't interpret what they heard the same way or saw the same way, or they're lying. They have motivation to lie. So, or they're insane, or they're poor storytellers. So, for example, let's say you're waiting to cash a check, somebody comes in, robs a bank, puts everybody on the ground, makes off with the money. The story that you tell and that you're able to tell is going to be different than the story that the 4-year-old tells, who was made to lay on the ground, the bank manager, and the cameras themselves. And let's not forget the bank robber's story. Point of view, P-O-V. You write it capital P, capital O, capital V. And when you see that in writing, it means from a particular person's vision. When you write over the shoulder, that means the camera would be back here, and we would be seeing the back of somebody's head and everything going forward. This isn't in my notes, but it's important right now because I'm looking around here, and this is a place where more than one person asked me about making a movie. They wanted to direct it, and they had money. And I couldn't take the projects because they didn't know how to read. So they didn't know how to read, they didn't know how to write. There was no voiceover software then. And so they couldn't give other people directions. It's difficult, functionally impossible damn near, the bigger the project gets, the more problems there are to tell other people what to do with day-to-day instructions if you can't read and write. So that said, if you're gonna be like, fuck it anyway, I'm not gonna learn how to read and write, you know, I got a few $1 million, I'm 50 years old, I'm gonna ride it out, all right, whatever. What you wanna do, I'm gonna tell you what you wanna do, how to make your movie. It's over the shoulder, a lot of over the shoulder. You're gonna wanna watch early Kung Fu movies made by Shaw Brothers and Golden Harvest. You're gonna wanna watch early Italian cinema, like the earliest. And you're gonna see how they use point of view. They will use whatever audio, voice audio they want to at any time. They'll create the story later on, but they get their shots. They wait a moment. The idea is, and the power of cinema, is getting the other person's reaction to what happened, not just simply seeing the awe of the action. For example, you're in a diner waiting for something to get cooked for you, and somebody comes in and smacks the hell out of the diner owner. Somebody laughs, a child cries because they're scared. Somebody laughs because they know something we don't, or that we already do know because you revealed it on camera to us in the story. And, somebody else reaches for a pistol. In point of view, you can tell your story later on, as long as you get your shots long enough that you can imagine what needs to be said. So, for example, in those old Kung Fu movies where everybody makes fun of their mouths going, and then it's like, me, right? The funny thing is they're not saying anything in those movies. Five Masters of Death, Kid with the Golden Arm, Five Deadly Venoms, Super Ninjas, movies like that, there is no dialogue. The beauty of what those studios did is they make those movies fast. They pump one out every week because they had the same people over and over to do it, knew the routine, and they did it without dialogue, and then they sold it to nations of the world: Germany, Italy, the States, and can't get into the track. Germany, Italy, the States, France, wherever, and everybody put together their own dialogue. So all that cornball stuff, you, me, he, ah, ha, 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 we, honey. That came from old Jewish men watching the films in dark rooms, small dark rooms, and having fun doing their own voiceovers. All right, you beat me. All right, so point of view, over the shoulder. They're great ways to film, production-wise, because you can do it fast. You can get your story told. You can put any dialogue that you want in there, and you don't have to be able to read. The downside is the size of your production is gonna have to be small. You can't have, the more people you have to talk to each day, the more people you have to give instructions, the longer your production time is gonna be and the more costly it's gonna be. If you have 12 people to talk to every day versus you could just make a memo in 10 minutes and shoot it to them, you gotta see the benefits of being able to read and write. So the smart thing to do, the realistic thing to do, is learn to read. $5,000 reward on Tuesday, July 21st, 2020 at approximately 8:45 p.m. Wilbert McCormick, a retired Cleveland firefighter, was shot and killed. He had been walking with his wife across the street from Forest Hills on Arlington Road. No arrests have been made in his murder. If you have any information, please contact Crime Stoppers at 216-252-7463. You may be eligible for a cash reward of up to $5,000 for information leading to the arrest and indictment of the persons responsible for this crime, and remain anonymous. They have a website, www.25crime.com. So the track that I thought would be open is not open, and the field where I would train is under surveillance. I don't want to give my stuff away to just anybody. This is just for y'all on Walk with Lonnie. So this street here was cut, is one of the streets, one of many, many streets that was cut across Rockefeller's land. Now right across the street, we're back in a forest area. All right, Spot, we're back on Spot. See Spot run, run Spot run. Where is Spot? Where's Spot running at? Is it here at the park? Is it in the parking lot? Is it in the house? Where it is, that's called the location. That's the actual location. In a screenplay, you would write it bedroom. You would write it living room. You wouldn't just write house. You give specific instructions. At the top of the scene, it's the first, what's called bar, and it's written in all caps, and it has abbreviations. You don't write interior and exterior. You just write EXT dot space location. Location is different than setting. Setting encompasses multiple elements, of which location is one. So the setting involves the time period. Not the time, not day or night, but the time period. So what you would do with this with your story to start building an effective story is set your story in a time period around some important event. Do your research. What happened to you? What else was going on around the world at the same time? What was happening to other people and with other people? What were other people doing to other people? Does that relate to you at all? Can you relate to any of it? If you can write that somehow crisply in one page, that's your goal. Hey, this is a good spot. We show respect like this. All right, so what you need to learn is balance first. Now I'm on snow here and uneven ground, so this is perfect to be teaching this in. My feet could shift. The little muscles underneath need to be able to adjust. And it's harder for me than it is for most of you because I'm flat-footed. So wear good shoes, get arch supports, and you still have to be conscious of standing a certain way, beginning with from your feet. You want to imagine you have an arch and just with the inner muscles of your feet, lift those off the ground. And that's how you always walk for balance. All right. And once you got balance, you can stop somebody from getting at you. You can hurt them before they get to you, or you can just trip them before they get to you. You can give you some time to get away with just being able to lift your leg. Just momentarily, just lift your leg. Now, when I lift my leg, it's not important that I kick high. What's important is that I lock my leg out. I want to time it so my leg is locked on contact. When I say leg, meaning my knee is locked on contact. That means it's like a spear. And even if I get knocked over, I've still speared the man into a spot. The damage is done. Boom! All right, you can be just like that. So what you want to do is I'm going to turn this side to give you this angle. Toe up. You practice a crane kick. Toe up. There's only one crane kick. Boom. Toe up. Boom. Toe up. All right. Now that's just the basic principle. Toe up. Now from a fighting perspective, you want this weapon out front. Boom. You kick from here. But how can you kick before you have balance? You have to be able to sit back on this leg here, bends enough like a seesaw. And you lock this is the practice of it, and you lean back until this leg starts lifting off the ground. And you want to be able to hold this for a time, just right there. That's important. Your kicking practice, this is what you want to get to, and you can play with it now. You're going to feel it in your hip. It's going to hurt. It's going to feel new. Play with it as long as you're able to without hurting yourself in a day. What you can do is this, just a simple kick. Arms out. And see, you're going to want to make sure you can see your hands. If you can see your hands, you can hold your balance easier. You lift your foot up. That's it. Toe up, foot up. Now, the toe is not up because I'm trying to, not necessarily because I'm trying to kick something, but because with the flat of my foot, I want to create a surface for the oncoming force to lunge into. I don't know where I'm going to kick the person. Will it be a knee? Will it be a thigh? Will it be a groin? Will it be a stomach? I'm trying to go and stop them, not and kick them. But that is the simplest of the crane kick. It's simply kick him in the chin. Pop. Kick him in the chin. Kick him in the chin. Kick him in the groin. And you practice that where you're able to practice that. Meaning lift your leg to where you can get it to. So, I want to keep my arms up here while I do these so I can show you, give you a demonstration of shoulder strength. So I'll do that for a little while. I want to open that notebook and make sure I stick to what your lesson plan is for the day as well. So you want to do 30 kicks a day with each leg. You might only be able to do 3, 4 at a time, whatever it is. And you might only be able to get up to here, whatever. Do what you can, but put that foot down here. Kick up, put the foot down here. Let me turn to this side for you so you can see. Here. Notice this back leg is bent. Notice this leg is a little bent too, maybe, if all I'm trying to do is kick the person. And I'm trying to kick them, not with my knee. And when I say kick them, I mean kick them with the toe. I'm trying to kick them with my hip. It's my hip flexor muscle that's going up, that's taking my foot up, and not my knee. Watch again. You see that? I'm trying to turn so you can see at the same time. Make sure you can see. Just that. You want to, right? And hold your balance. Take time to hold your balance. See where you can feel your balance at. Make sure you can see your hands. That helps. Don't look down. Don't look back at your legs. And you can do some cool stuff with your balance. Crane kick. Watch your hands. I put my arms down. I'm going to grab this. So you got toe up kicks. You want to practice 30 a day with each leg. And you want to fight for your balance on the balancing hip. From there, you want to do squats, full squats. If you can't do a full squat unassisted, then use something to assist you. A chair, a doorknob, whatever. Hold on to something and get your butt down all the way and all the way up. Feel your feet planted firmly under you. You can have them wider or more narrower, whatever works for you, but get down there and get up. Now these, you know, when you're starting out, I don't know your fitness level, but 12 to 60, as fast as you can is your goal. And then you want to rest 60 seconds in between and do it again. And you want to do that 3 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm just going to do the 12 so we can move on. All right, and then you want to hold this with your back straight up. Let me turn to the side. Even if you got to hold on to something, make sure your back is perfect. Put it against the wall even and work on holding these muscles. This is how you get strong and balance. You feel it in your feet. Oh, if your knees make noise, don't worry about that as long as they don't hurt. Noisy knees are all right. That's Kung Fu for today. What are some of the benefits of squats and practicing the crane kick? Well, you have the cultural aspects of, one, knowing what a crane kick is and having something authentic from Da Mo Kung Fu. Who's Da Mo? Da Mo is the Buddha of Shaolin Temple. He's the first Buddha of what's known to most as Cha'an or Chan Buddhism in China and other places, and known in Japan as Zen and the code of Bushido, or the way of the samurai. The other benefits are learning to do things that are tough and be strong for it. Sometimes just to endure things that are tough and be stronger for it. Even if you didn't get some great lesson out of it, you learn something about yourself, like you're tough enough to take it. That's important. That in itself is very important. At the end of this, I'm going to tell you why I'm telling you so much about me, as I'm about to, in between, in micro bits, I'm going to tell you what some of this stuff means. I hope let me know if I make my point overall. Story 1. Well, my mom taught me about love, and I'm going to come back to that. This is about wellness, and I have to share with you how I became well, which means I have to share my sickness with you.
Train the body, focus the mind, shape the story. I'm live daily at noon Eastern after 1,000 followers.